our beat writer for the News Tribune was actually joking with me that he didn't need his glasses to be able to read
Nice.
items on the video board, and everyone was just so pleased with how it looked. And
Hello and welcome to the Daktronics Experience podcast. I'm Justin Oxner here with Matt Anderson. Today we're at Amsoil Arena. We're visiting with the University of Minnesota Duluth, and we're here with Dylon Field. Dylon, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to where you're at today?
Yep, appreciate you guys having me on. Upper Iowa University graduate in 2018, was working in their sports information department for all 4 years there, game presentation, video, sports information, kind of everything like that. And didn't really know exactly what I wanted to go into after college, but then luckily enough, I got a postgraduate internship here at UMD, spent about a year and a half, built a new control room up on campus, 48 strands of fiber, TriCaster TC1, 3P1.
Okay.
After that, I got my first full-time job down at Elon University in North Carolina. Old Daktronics displays down there as well, just like UMD. Worked there for a year before moving on to USA Hockey with the National Team Development Program.
Oh, wow.
Spent about 2 years with them, video board, broadcasts, everything underneath that video multimedia umbrella. And then after that, Brian Nystrom, our deputy AD here at UMD, called me and asked, hey, do you want to come back here to UMD? And applied, and here I am now in my third year back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask when did that final call happen then?
Yep.
So I mean, what about it kind of kept you on? Because I mean, obviously, we find this when we talk with a lot of colleges, is there's usually a lot of other places before where you're currently at. So you start talking about from Iowa, coming here, going to Elon, doing the hockey thing. Like, what about that job just kind of kept you interested and obviously keep pursuing it?
Yep. I just love the sports industry. As you guys know, it's just a family within college athletics. You're always going, but it's also something different every day, whether you have football in the fall, hockey, basketball in the winter, or baseball, softball, track in the spring. And obviously I'm missing some sports, but just to name a few, and everyone presents their own fun challenges. For example, baseball, softball here in the Northland, you never know where you're going to be playing.
When you could start the season or
that. I always joke with my students that Monday I'll send an email out to them. We're going to be playing on Wednesday at Bulldog Park.
Okay.
But then that Tuesday it'll get changed. And then that Wednesday morning, it'll get changed again. But there's always the fun with that to keep you on your toes and always doing your best work.
So is that where you said you love the aspect of sports? Is that where you kind of always had a knack for technology and thought, okay, technology and sports, and you wanted to put them together?
Didn't really know with the technology side. I knew somewhere related to the sports information family.
Okay.
And then I came here to UMD and absolutely fell in love with the Daktronics equipment we have up at our football stadium and found a knack within live production.
Awesome. And then maybe dive into a little bit now, like, so what is your title and your role and kind of what's your area of expertise, but kind of what do you cover here at UMD?
Yep. So I am the director of Bulldog Productions here at the University of Minnesota Duluth. We are a very interesting athletic department. We're one of the few across the country where we're NCAA Division II for 14 of our sports, competing in the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference, which, as you guys know, being from Brookings, is a crazy good conference.
Yeah.
And then you add on top of that 2 Division I hockey programs on the men's side competing in the NCHC. Another really good conference, North Dakota, Denver, Omaha. And then you go to women's hockey in the WCHA, and all of a sudden you're competing with Minnesota, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. So, and then I kind of oversee all of our multimedia with Kelly, who is our SID, photos, videos, and then we also have live broadcasts, video boards with our marketing team, and then streaming, television, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I see it's one of those, like your title along with marketing, we always say. It sounds like it's such a broad umbrella these days. I mean, you kind of hinted on it, right? But it's streaming, video boards, all these different things. Kind of how is that, even from when you started, you know, like I think you said in 2018 at Iowa, like where you are today, is it just kind of keeps growing, like more things kind of get put under your umbrella essentially?
Yeah, we really expanded our photography here in the last year, really to give our students more opportunities photographing our athletic events, and especially with the growth of NIL within college athletics. We started our own collective. We partnered with Influencer to help give our student athletes a platform to get their photos, their videos, and work with local businesses to help grow their personal brands.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. And we're in Amsoil Arena right now. And that, can you maybe explain how that fits in with the campus and the events? And I'm assuming you've talked about shifting events and times, and how many events are kind of hosted at this venue as well?
Yep. So we'll host all of our men's and women's hockey games a year. Both sides will have around 20 games a year. We'll usually play Friday and Saturday nights from mid-September up until about mid-March. Unique this year, though, thanks to the leadership of the deck, we got this brand new 3.9 video board, and can't thank our programs enough too, with Scott Sandelin on the men's side and Laura Schuler on the women's, just to be able to be flexible with ice times to give the Daktronics crew 2-3 weeks to be able to work on the install.
Okay. Is it even flexible enough for podcasts? I mean, when we were
yeah.
leading up to this, obviously, right, we're talking about the new equipment, and then you threw out this idea that we're currently acting out right now is, how about we do it on the ice and I'll lower it down afterwards? And it was one of those, I'm not sure if it was ever on my bucket list, Justin, but this is the first time I've ever done anything like this.
Right.
But
I hadn't even really thought of it yet. But then you mentioned taking pictures of students and athletes. Do you ever lower this and put them in front of it for maybe like your media day shoots or something like that? I'm jumping into the uses, but I'm kind of tying your recent comment there into it.
We haven't done that yet. Our old video board, the pixels were too far apart to be able to effectively do that. However, we're going to look at doing that this coming fall.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then maybe just kind of talking about it then, so for as long as you've been here, like, when did this discussion first come up? Because I know sometimes it varies. It's a quick turnaround, or it's been years and years in the making. Kind of when you came here, kind of what was the standing of, okay, this board needs to be replaced and updated?
Yep. So we were talking about it actually when I was a postgraduate intern at UMD.
The first time you were here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It was supposed to be done, I believe, the summer of 20. However, as we know with COVID, that delayed that project, and we finally got around to it this past summer. We got everything signed with DAC, and
Okay. So with that, I mean, we can see the displays here that involve the center hung, the four sides, and the lower ribbon. Is that kind of what that project encompassed?
Yep. So it encompassed the four sides of the center hung display, being able to integrate with our current corner physical scoreboards, just to be able to show game time, penalties, all of that. And then replays, highlights, all that. We redid our control room as well with this project to put in a TC1 and a 3P2.
Okay.
So this is the stats call out portion.
Yeah,
we
Justin.
teased it a little bit, but there's four sides, all the same size, and they're 9 feet high by 13 feet wide, and then the lower ribbon is about 2.5 feet wide or high by 46 feet in circumference around on the bottom there. So that's kind of the system in the background here. That's the main visual centerpiece, the center hung that we've been talking about. So
and I was going to say, like, so when this started coming about, kind of maybe talk a little bit about what was your role with this, because it can vary from if you're involved even into the design, the installation, and then obviously the control room, I'm assuming, was a big part. But maybe just talk a little bit about how you were involved in the whole project once it was, all right, it's go time.
Yep. So I was working with Brian Nystrom, our deputy AD, who was communicating with DEC leadership, Dan, Ronnie, Steve, Phil, the entire crew here at the DEC, and just making sure everything was meeting their standards. The equipment not only worked for us, but for their events as well that are non-UMD affiliated, and then just kind of picking out what equipment we needed with the DEC team and Daktronics in the control room, on the display, making sure we were able to check every box on everyone's list.
Okay. Really quick, you said DEC a couple of times. Can you define what that is and how the arena fits into that?
Yep. So the DEC is the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center. It is actually a quasi-governmental authority.
Okay.
So it's a mix between city and state. Some facilities here are owned by the DEC, some owned by the city, some owned by the state.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of what other type of things do they have in here? So it's kind of a two-part question. And then you're on only the UMD side, right? If they have something outside UMD, you're not involved, correct?
Correct. Occasionally I'll help them out, whether it be like a graduation or anything like that. But the arena hosts many graduations in the spring, country concerts, rock concerts, and obviously tons of hockey.
Yeah.
But they have tons of other conventions. They actually have a sports show going on in our old arena as we record.
Oh, okay.
So with that, were you involved in maybe helping look at different designs for this center hung or the plans for it? I mean, I know it was a long time in the making and maybe started before you're in this current position, but did you guys kind of look at different designs and say, okay, maybe this is what we're looking for, this is the capability we want?
I did a little bit, but we knew going into the process exactly what we wanted, what the deck wanted. We knew what would work well for both sides. But the interesting thing about this venue, there's a bird's nest up in the catwalk
We're gonna look
that
up
the scoreboard needs to be able to fit inside of during a concert, so that someone sitting at the top of the 200 level at the far side can see the stage right down here at our student section.
Makes a lot of sense. Make sure those sight lines are there for all the different events that the venue hosts.
Yeah, and when you're even thinking of different designs, like do you just Google search? Like, what do you search for different ideas, or do you go to different websites, or kind of how do you look about it?
I actually just look at the Daktronics social media pages. You guys do a great job in showcasing your newest displays, and whenever a facility posts, hey, we're getting a new video board, that first game I'm watching their stream, watching their social medias, just to see how that board looks.
Yes.
Yeah, just seeing what else is out there and looking at what's possible even.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's on the technology side. So it's 3.9 millimeter for all these displays, a nice resolution for you to work with in here. How does that work on maybe the game day production side? Because you said you redid the entire control room?
Yep. So we upgraded everything from our router, switcher, replay, be able to show more and better replays, be able to add in some different cameras. We have new Goal Light POV cameras. We have a Bird Dog P120 on the underbelly of our scoreboard. And then with the NDI capabilities as well within show control, we were also able to add, I believe, 6 ice microphones inside the glass to help out our TV partner.
Really cool.
Oh, wow. I was gonna say, was it so when the control room got redone, was it still the same footprint and you're just switching out new stuff, or did it expand the size of the room, or what?
Same footprint.
Same footprint. So was that that's more your wheelhouse, or were you in there saying, okay, I would love to have this and this and this and this? Okay.
That was my wheelhouse, and just kind of working with Brian and the deck just to make sure we were staying within budget and getting equipment that would work well for both parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you got show control with this. What's it kind of look like on game day from your side of it? Like, okay, the doors are open, people are coming in. What's it like for you?
So my game day actually starts every Wednesday before a Friday game, just loading all of our content. I like to test everything just to make sure everything's working. I don't need to do any graphic adjustments. Obviously, with a 3.9 millimeter pixel pitch, it's going to point out stuff that I might not be able to see on my computer screen. So just making sure everything looks good. And then usually that Friday morning, I'll come down here, run through the script, making sure everything's playing well, set up my cameras, and then kind of, it's a little chill, but not really. Obviously, the crazy begins when gates open. I have my wireless camera go through the arena, capture some pre-records that we use both on the video board and on television. And then roughly 30 minutes before puck drop, we'll pre-record our TV broadcast open, and kind of from there, the game takes over.
There you go.
And then you're in your flow. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm even thinking about the show control, right? So, I mean, throughout your travels from everywhere until you got here, were you familiar with the show control system? Had you used it somewhere previous? Because I'm guessing it wasn't in use here before that?
We actually had, not to give anyone PTSD, but we had V7000 Sequence Designer in here. So AVIs, Targas, sequence files. But up on campus, we have a video board that was put in at our basketball volleyball facility back in 2017 with show control.
Oh, okay. So you had some experience with it there then.
We were fairly limited just because our tables were still running on V7000, but we were able to get show control there. And then we also upgraded our football stadium in 2016, just the back end equipment to show control.
Okay. Yeah, the PTSD is definitely the red ball bouncing.
Oh, yeah.
This seems to come up on every other podcast, but it was when I started DAC about 18 years ago as an intern. It was you had to learn to go into sequence designer, make a ball just bounce across the screen. I remember that just be like, it took a long time to figure out how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But because I was just wondering, so like when you get ready for all this, and I kind of want to tie this into your game day crew, right? Using it. How easy was it to set up with everything through show control and maybe even bringing in students or other operators and getting them on board as well?
It was a piece of cake. Just we knew how show control worked on campus. So as we were going into the install, we had everything prepped. We knew what kind of file formats, everything like that we needed to bring into the board, how media RTD fields work, just to make sure we had everything ready. Kind of unique with us, we had a December install, so kind of needed to make sure we got everything ready to go and move quickly to be ready for our first games.
Okay.
And then brought in our freelancers and our students as well to learn the system, and obviously quick data being a new component in show control that we don't have on campus. It just works phenomenal as well for our out-of-town scores and different things we do throughout the game.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask, because you mentioned students and you kind of nodded there. How many students do you have on the production team, and with that quick installation and turnaround, was there like a lot of training involved in that too?
Usually on our show control, we have a freelancer lead the show on there, or our marketing team.
Okay.
Our marketing team also uses some students, but then our Bulldog Productions students are on all of our cameras, graphics, audio, replay. We have 6 manned cameras during a TV hockey game, and they're on every camera, and they do a phenomenal job for us.
And getting real world experience there too, right?
I was going to say, like, how does that work then too? Like, has that been going on since you've been here? I mean, we know this is new, but you've mentioned the other installs for football and basketball. Has it always been students are always involved in the broadcast and that kind of stuff on campus?
Our students really got involved starting around 2017, 2018.
Okay.
We did the control room project on campus for our football and basketball facilities for a brand new control room, 48 strands of fiber connecting the two.
Okay.
So that project enabled us to begin our partnership with KBJR and My9 Sports, our television partner here in Duluth. So our students began running the cameras for those games, replay, and then we would basically just set up an SDI feed. They'd plug in their live view and we'd be on the air.
So television feeds, not just streaming too?
Correct. Streaming, television, the video boards. And even this year, we began sending our feeds to many places thanks to KBJR and Gray Media. We're sending to Midcoast Sports whenever like North Dakota is coming to town. We're sending to KCRG down in Iowa. And this coming Saturday, we're actually going to be sending to many Gray stations across the country.
Okay. And how was that then when starting up even? Did you have like a lot of students like ready right away, or has it like grown? Because sometimes we've heard when people start doing that, they get maybe a small class and all of a sudden the next year it grows bigger and bigger. Is it kind of that way too, or did you have a lot of interest in that right away?
The first year when I was here as a postgraduate intern, I had maybe around 5 to 7 students. So it was just growing gradually. And then I was able to get up to around 20 kids last year.
There you go.
Which is the goal, just with TV hockey potentially going on at the same time as a basketball game that we want to treat just as equal as hockey.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you have those crossover seasons in college, right? Your fall and winter, winter and spring. It's like you need a lot of hands on deck in case you have multiple events going on around campus, right?
And you always have to assume too that some students aren't going to be available.
Yeah.
So just looking at how many positions you need for your busiest day. Maybe 5 students won't be available, and then you go from there.
Okay. So did you mention how many number of students? You mentioned they were running multiple positions. How many kind of build out your entire staff on game day then?
Yep. So we'll start in the control room, both replay and graphics. Marketing will usually have some people going in and out running our moving lights that we control from just the control room via DMX.
Okay.
And then cameras 1 and 2 are students. 3 and 4. I should go back. 1 being the main game follow, 2 tight follow, 3, 4 the slash angles.
Okay.
And then our camera 5, which is the Zamboni entrance camera. And then camera 6 is our between the benches camera.
Okay. So
all by UMD students.
So 6, 8, 9, almost, about 10
Good amount,
positions there,
yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of experience. And have you heard like feedback from the production now that you've had this for a few months and been working with it?
I know our athletic department loves what we have done with our Bulldog Productions program. Our TV station has loved this partnership. It has exponentially grown the quality of the productions.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to say, so you mentioned the install was in December. Maybe just talk a little bit about, I mean, aside from you probably being really, really, really nervous, but that first game or that first use, maybe just take us there and let us know, how did that first event go with the new displays?
It went very well. It was a January 3rd game, so unfortunately our students were on winter break in terms of our student section, but our student athletes and our coaches noticed right away just with how clear the text looked, and our beat writer for the News Tribune was actually joking with me that he didn't need his glasses to be able to read
Nice.
items on the video board, and everyone was just so pleased with how it looked. And on generic graphics, it might not be as noticeable, but once you go to live video, any of our pre-produced packages, you just notice right away a night and day difference.
So I was going to say, I don't know if you remember what the pixel pitch was before this. I know you said it was really spaced out, but so were you not able to do instant replays on the old board, or you did and they just kind of were, say fuzzy, but were they just, because I imagine like you're saying, that's the biggest thing, either the live video or the replays. Are those the biggest things that you have now that you didn't have with the older technology?
We had that with the older board, just with, I believe it was a 12 millimeter pixel pitch. It was just harder to find the puck at times on replays.
Oh, gotcha.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So that's this installation. Have you noticed any difference compared to like other venues on campus? Because you mentioned a couple other installations. So can you tell us kind of what it looks like at the other sports?
Yep. So football, same thing as hockey. We're sharing our feed straight to our television partner. We'll have 4 UMD students running cameras and then a 5th on replay. We'll go through the tailgate lot, do a bunch of fun pre-records, all that. Soccer, we'll usually have around 5 students. And then volleyball right around 5 as well, basketball 5, and the rest kind of hang with that.
Okay.
That's still quite a few events.
That magic number.
Yeah, quite a few events that students are a part of and getting experience on, and also helping put on the game day so that a bunch of fans can enjoy it, right?
Yeah, that's these stories I love because college is so unique in that aspect. I mean, you mentioned, I think it was 14 plus athletics.
Yep,
I mean,
16 intercollegiate.
There you go. Yeah, then you have to, and different conferences, different levels, and all that stuff. So it's like everyone always says, I love it because my job's never the same every day. Like it seems like a normal saying, but it's actually like really legit here in your seat because it really is different all the time, right?
Exactly. You never know what you're going to get. And kind of just earlier this week, we had a men's basketball game Tuesday night against Minnesota State. We, close game down to the wire, was kind of expecting overtime, and Maddie Thompson slam dunk with 0.2 seconds to go in the second half to clinch the win.
Jeez, the walk-off dunk.
Oh, yeah, walk-off dunk after he had just he did a walk-off dunk in the regional quarterfinals last year that Minnesota State was hosting.
Oh, wow.
That's a signature move, then.
Yeah,
If you do it more than once, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I'm thinking, and you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's a question I asked you when we were getting ready here, setting up this podcast on ice. Right here by this way. Can you maybe just paint a picture? Because I know you've mentioned you have like a main central control room, right, on campus that does some things, but then you also have, I believe you said it's like right back up over here, right? So is
Correct.
Kind of how do you divide that up? And is that similar to other spots on campus? Like in the football stadium, do you have someone at the stadium and then this central control room? Kind of how do you organize that?
I mix it up. I just I go off of what I need in the control room, and then I work my way back to the facility of what cameras I need and everything like that.
Okay. So like tomorrow when the games are going, are you going to be here or are you going to be in the other room?
I'll be here running the hockey production.
Okay.
And then I'll have students up on campus leading the show for our basketball doubleheader.
Okay. And then just everyone's on headsets with each other, kind of just making sure it's all staying in. Okay.
Yep. I usually have a text chain going with our campus crew just to make sure everything's going well. We don't have communication outside of that between the 2 control rooms.
Okay.
So you have 2 double headers coming up this weekend?
Yes.
Doubleheader hockey, doubleheader basketball on the same day?
correct. Friday, Saturday.
Wait, there's 2 hockey tomorrow.
Yes.
And 2 basketball Saturday?
2 hockey tomorrow, 2 basketball tomorrow.
Yeah.
2 basketball on Saturday, 2 hockey on Saturday, with both basketballs having their senior day Saturday afternoon, and women's hockey having their senior day as well.
Welcome to college sports.
When did you start cloning yourself then to try to help cover all this stuff? That's crazy.
It's a
Not to
lot.
mention a weekday basketball game on Tuesday.
Oh, and here you are the night before all this, sitting down with us talking on a podcast. I really feel flattered now that you took the time to do this.
No kidding.
But maybe the slam dunk thing was a part of it, but we always like to ask people too. And you've had it for a month, but like, what's like one of your favorite memories maybe here on campus of a sporting event? Or doesn't have to be about the board. If it's about a video board, that's great. But kind of what's like a key memory that you have here?
I think it would be our women's basketball regional tournament. My first year back with UMD. We were the #1 seed, so got to host it on campus.
Okay.
We did a 5-camera production with UMD students. UMD made it to the regional championship. We were down 20 points with roughly 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
And we ended up winning the game by 2.
Oh, geez.
nice.
3-pointer with, I think it was like 15 seconds left by Ella Gilbertson. Not a empty seat in Romano Gym. It was just a fantastic environment for those young women en route to a run they made all the way to American Airlines Center for the Division II Women's Basketball National Championship.
Yeah, those moments stick out. That's awesome.
Are you a control room? Because I've seen a lot of different ones. It can be either everyone's very serious and they kind of talk during things, some half excited, or some just all cheer. Or you like when that stuff happens, is the whole room just like?
When that shot went in, it was just pure chaos. I couldn't even hear my play-by-play announcer just because the gym was that loud. We have a smaller, intimate gym on campus, so when you put just shy of 2,500 people in there, it's going to be a crazy environment.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And then I don't know if you want to do the final question here that we like to ask people.
I was going to lead into that and say if you know somebody else that might be looking to do this, not that if you know them personally, but somebody else might be listening to this, do you have any advice for them on what to do or something that would help a project like this go smooth?
Yep. Always making sure that the control room equipment is what you need, being able to give that, whether SDI feed in, or Matt Sendon's probably not going to like what I'm about to say, but if you go NDI, the power with show control, you can essentially use that station as your production switcher.
Okay.
And it just gives so many capabilities to smaller schools as well, and not to mention the great customer support by Daktronics.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, it's one of those things you see this, big, brand new, shiny piece of technology, but you're like, yeah, make sure the back end is working the way you want it to, so you can make it look great when you turn it on.
Yes.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. Then do you have any Joey Hustlebus stories that we're allowed to talk about on the podcast, or is that for a different time?
Probably a different time.
Okay. Let's give Joey a shout out here too. Nice. But yeah, no, this is awesome. They helped us out with this. This is very cool setup.
Yes.
I mentioned I've not been to Duluth in a long time. But I told you I was from Northern, did track, and the only time we ever came up here was for track beats and then left again. So I was like kind of familiar with the area, but I didn't know exactly where this is. And then coming in here, this is really cool.
Yeah.
We're actually hosting the Northern Sun Outdoor Track Championships on campus this spring.
You are.
That all of our students will be able to do the broadcast for.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Yeah, see, the time I came here was for that. I think the last time was before you guys went to the NCC and back, but it was one of those, like you said, almost with softball and baseball. You don't know it was very cold, and I was a high jumper, so it was every time you jump over, it's like you immediately wrap up right away afterwards because it was so cold out here for an outdoor meet.
Yeah, I was never here for an outdoor meet. This is my first time to Duluth, and it's been fantastic so far. Even just coming in and seeing the city, it's beautiful here, and you've got a beautiful facility. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us on the ice and show it to us.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks.